Thank you very much. Any opening remarks from moderator?
Well, just to welcome everyone and good evening. I hope all of you are joining from a good evening part of the globe. You're welcome to this webinar organized by NCIC and in collaboration with Better Ways. We are working together on facilitating project management certification training. At the meantime, we have been facilitating project management certification under the PMI. And we've organized this webinar so that we get to take you through the journey from aspiring to becoming a certified project manager. At the end of the webinar, we'll have a question and answer. We'll give you a chance to ask questions, and even beyond the webinar, you can still ask us questions so that we give you more information about becoming a certified project manager. I will hand over to our speaker, Dr. Laban Mansa. Apologies, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Nema Kadaluka, working as Training and Research Director at NCIC. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Laban Mansa.
Thank you very much, Nema. Am I audible? Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It is actually an honor to be presenting this webinar this evening, and I will be delighted to take some questions after the presentation. I prepared a few slides to simply talk about CAPM, PMP, PGMP, and probably PFMP. But the most, some introduction. My name is Laban Mwansa. I have more than 20 years experience, both academic and industrial experience from African context. South Africa, Malawi, Zambia. I'm originally from Zambia, but at the moment I reside in Europe, Central Europe, and doing consultants in Europe and as well as Africa in the space of project management. My domain is IT. I have a PhD in computer engineering, apart from projects which I run, and also consultants projects which I'm doing, and as well as training as a certified ATP, approved accredited training partner of PMI, and supporting the PMI chapters. I was one of the founding members for the Zambia chapter as well. And at the moment, I'm currently in Zambia, also looking at how to help give back to the chapter, to the communities. Okay. Now, my task is very simple this evening, because I just want to unlock some of the unseen, some of the untalked about nuances regarding certifications, PMI certifications. As we know, it's the American standard, which is a globally accepted credentials, providing globally accepted credentials for project managers, program managers, portfolio managers. So this is what I'm going to talk about this evening. And then we can have Q&A at the end. Having said that, what I thought probably is very crucial to position yourself. Where are you vis-a-vis organization strategic management? Like I chose this slide so that it's always better to have a bigger picture before, especially when you're aspiring for certifications. It's good to have a bigger picture before you can zero in into narrow yourself and position yourself in the organization. So if you see this slide, which I have here, I will be very careful not to present a lecture, but rather a talk, right? All organizations, they need a vision. They must either have a vision or they must do a vision, which is 3 to 5 years vision. Vision simply specifies a future state. Okay, as long as an organization has got a vision, we can develop a mission and strategy, because a strategic plan is one of the terms of references for all CEOs, is to produce a strategic plan. This is, if you like, if I say strategy, sorry, just go back to this one again. I'm still talking to this slide. If I do strategy, then we are sitting here at this point, okay? Organizational strategy and objectives. And you, me, us project professionals, we must help organizations realize strategic plan, which is accompanied by strategic objectives. And this is where we use projects as vehicles to deliver change in organizations. At this level, down here, is where we sit. Here is where we are sitting, because we are using portfolios, programs, and projects to deliver change. And this change must be aligned to strategy. And all organizations having a strategic alignment, objectives, strategic initiatives need projects, because projects are vehicles which we are using to deliver change. Now, look at this. At the bottom here, there is lying here management of these operations. What we say, change, run the business, and change the business. Here we have management of authorized projects, programs, and projects. Okay, so what I want to say here is the space in which we are on looking at this slide. Actually, we are on the right-hand side here. This way. This is where we are operating, and all the programs. That's why I've seen in some banks they are calling project managers. They call them change managers, because project managers are introducing change, and change is introduced using projects. And now, depending on the maturity level of project management, you can be talking of a PMO, project management office, or PMO for program management office, or a portfolio management office. And this presents themselves as a logical way of progression from project management. You're going to ask me, Laban, I'm PMP certified, what next? I will definitely say you need to be a program manager, which relates to a senior project manager, is actually a program manager. And from program management, there is a standard, which we call, for the PMI standard is actually called the PG. It's called PG, MP. This is a standard which is sitting on top of the PMP. But apparently,
Look, I think we lost you for some minutes.
am I back?
Yes.
Oh, sorry about that. I see there are some people in the waiting room. We can do view, and I can admit all of them. I don't know where you lost me. Maybe on the previous slide?
Yes, where you were talking about program management and PMO,
Oh,
our
yes.
role. Yeah.
Yes. I can quickly go back there. That's a slide before this one. So this triangle is very important because it gives you a bigger picture to reposition yourself where you are and what you're aspiring in the space of project, program, and portfolio management. Actually, portfolio manager or director is equivalent to director of projects. And then program manager is equivalent to senior project manager. It's just tailoring of the positions and the roles. Then the project manager space is governed by the standard the PMBOK. The PMBOK standard is a guide which we use to implement certifications, credentials of PMP. Now, if you go on program management, we have also a standard, program management standard by PMI. If you go at portfolio management, there is also a standard, portfolio management standard. So what you need to understand is these standards are best practice and also reflects the maturity levels of project management in your organization, and also provides you with a career professional development. Because if you become a project manager for many years, obviously, naturally, you would want to become a senior project manager one day, or a program manager. And if you're a program manager for many years, at one day you would want to be a portfolio manager. And this is how the ladder looks like. And the portfolio manager, portfolio executive, is equivalent to director of projects, who should report to CEO of the organization. For obvious reasons, because projects is about delivering the strategic plan. And that's why most director of projects report to CEOs. So this is what I wanted to say on this diagram, just to give you an overall picture where we're going. Of course, this is a vision here. This is a vision of the organization. I know a portfolio must have a vision as well. Program must have a vision, including a project. You need to have a vision for a project. But these visions must be consistent with your organization's vision. And if you go on next, I was trying to come up with a table which is putting everything in one place. I would say unsung certification credential is a CAPM. This is a foundation to PMP. Okay, CAPM stands for Certified Associate Project Manager. This is like a foundation to PMP. And for most people who are not initiated yet in project management, they would decide to go for CAPM, which will act as a prerequisite for PMP. So it could be an entry level. And also, if you don't have a first degree, you could enter in the space of project management space using CAPM. And I've seen that a lot of participants, they go into PMP because they're already practicing project management. Hello, I heard some voice in the background. But anyway, this table, you can see clearly, it is giving everything on one slide. And talking points here is you are asking yourself, I like project management. Where should I start from? But if I don't have an experience, if you don't have a degree, you can start from CAPM. And from CAPM, it also requires some training, about 23 hours. For PMP or for PMI, the institute, considers one PDU as 1 hour. So even if you get certification, you will need to maintain your certification. All these certifications are lasting they're not for life. They're lasting for 3 years normally. After 3 years, you need to renew your certification. You need to acquire 60 PDUs over 3 years. Then you get recertifications. Otherwise, you will need to sit for the exam again. And I think no one wants to do that. Every 3 years, it's better you do your own, you accumulate PDUs so that you can recertify. For PMP, we can have you can have a 4-year degree. PMI is not, it doesn't care what degree. Is it about data science? Is it in mechanical engineering? Is it social development? PMI doesn't care the degree. As long as it's a first degree, then you need 36 months of experience of leading projects. And then after that, you could now have 35 hours of training, which we are giving. We are calling this boot camps because we prepare you to sit for the exam. The exam is very rigorous. I will be lying if I say it's a walk in the park. But if we prepare you adequately for you to pass the exam on first attempt, and this is 180 questions. You need to sit at a prometric center, approved center, where there is fast internet. I think after the COVID-19, most PMP exams are online. It's something you need to identify which center is having that. Then these are exam fees which you have on that column. The exam fees are organized by regions. The sub-regions, there's what we call website fees, where the sub-region, like the sub-Sahara region, you can find these fees and can be paid online to PMI directly or through an ATP when you want to buy maybe a discounted exam voucher. So every 3 years, you need 60 PDUs. A PDU, one PDU is equal to 1 hour of project management engagement. It could be you read a book about project management. You can claim the hours you spent reading the book. You attend a webinar like this one. You can claim 2 PDUs, which is for two hours. And we also claim PDUs for this webinar because it's about project management. And if you give a talk at work about project management, you can claim for both for preparation and for talking about project management in the workplace. And this is how you accrue the PDUs. And PMI can check that at random. They do check whether you really did the presentation. But this will help you achieve what we call the talent triangle. I think I've got a slide in this presentation where I would speak about the talent triangle, PMI talent triangle. Then for PGMP, this is for senior program managers. The last one, which is showing PGMP, that's a standard for program management. And if you want to be a senior project manager, recognized, you can do PGMP, which is also requiring prerequisite of the first degree and 48 months practicing as a senior project manager. And for this one, there will be a panel review. There will be 2 reviews. A panel will review your portfolio, your CV, vis-a-vis program management, and then you can go for the exam if the panel is satisfied, excuse me, that you've got the requisite experiences. What is interesting for PGMP is that having a PMP is not a prerequisite of doing PGMP, because you could be coming from the business and maybe analysis perspective, and you could be a senior executive. You want to manage multiple projects. That's key, to manage multiple projects which are related, and then you want to manage aggregated risks, aggregated issues, aggregated benefits from multiple projects. So you become a senior program manager. and or a senior project manager, then it means that project managers will be reporting to you on their projects, what we call components of a program. Because if you're running a program, then the components of the program will definitely be projects. And the next slide is talking to the triangle. This is what I said, the PMI, we call this PMI talent triangle. This was adopted from maintenance of certifications, especially the PMP certification, which is riding at the moment on the new syllabus, which was developed from 2021. This is the syllabus we are using in our boot camps at the moment. So your skills must reflect this triangle here. Ways of working which are predictive, adaptive. These are approaches, right? And hybrid approaches to projects. For example, if you are chartering a project, at the time of chartering a project, you must determine the approach which you will use to deliver the project, either predictive, adaptive, or hybrid, like the combination of the two. Well, just like sides of this triangle, you need a modern project manager at the moment needs to have a business acumen, power skills, and ways of working. A modern project manager must be able to manage an agile project as well as a predictive project, which is predictive projects pointing to what we sometimes call waterfall projects. These are projects where there is heavy planning and specification before execution. And adaptive projects are these support incremental or agile projects are falling under adaptive projects, especially for complex projects, delivery of complex projects. We will think of adaptive approach. Then you can also do hybrid approach. So this has been quite emphasized in the PMP delivery bootcamp, these approaches. But they align also to the PMI talent triangle, which focuses on performance domains like people, power skills. The modern project manager must be able to drive power skills, processes, ways of working, 50%, and the business environment, business acumen, 8%. So a modern project manager must be able to deliver a business case based on benefits and value. If you agree with me that previously most project managers were concerned about outputs, from the project is giving you outputs, but in the new syllabus, emphasis is on benefits, delivery of benefits and value. And this is why you see the business environment there, 8%, and also Agile has received a lot of appetite from industry, Agile project management. And there is a component in the PMP bootcamp lesson, I think the first lesson, the business environment, where we want for project managers to appreciate the MVPs. MVP stands for minimum viable product. So for every agile project, you need to define an MVP in the business case. And this is a requirement now. That's why you see that 8%. But you must understand, if you're dealing with contracts, they must be outcome-based contracts. If you are if a contract is outcome-based, they need to be speaking to the delivery of value. That's the business side of things. For every project manager's delivery must be accompanied by a business case, which is actually feeding also in a document we call benefits realization plan. This is a document. It's not part of the project management plan, but it's something a project manager must create. The benefits management plan, which will be managed post-project, which will be managed to monitor post-project benefits. Right. So the next one, this is exam content. This is specifically for PMP, I would say. And all the learning contents are assembled and aligned to ECHO, what we call the ECHOs, which is the basis for a PMP exam. You know, for the newest syllabus, we count on ECHOs. If you're doing preparations for the exam, for the PMP exam, you have to go through the ECHOs, exam content outline, and we'll tell you what is needed to learn about all the topics, which is in the new syllabus. That was about PMP briefly. Now, let me also talk about PGMP briefly. This one takes you to a higher level for experienced gold standard in program management, which is demonstrating advanced experience and leadership. Because the highest you can go, of course, is CEO. But if you report to CEO, it means that you are at strategic level. Okay? So this credential prepares you for strategy. How do you implement strategic objectives? How do you align programs, projects to speak to the strategic objectives? Like we are saying, actually, if a program, a project does not speak to strategy, then stop the project, stop the program. As simple as that. So this credential opens doors to executive roles and large-scale project leadership, that you can deliver multiple projects as a program. That is better because you are able to optimize resources. You are able to optimize the use of budget resources, if I may say, because there is no duplication of efforts along the projects. So actually we say a program is a dossier of related projects. And if you want to manage aggregated benefits sustainability of a program, aggregated risks, aggregated a kind of provision of oversight on projects which are running side by side. For example, the output of one program becomes the input of one project. And you know that you cannot have a project under a project, right? I think you know that. But you can have what we call work streams. If a project is more complex, you can divide it into work streams. You can even have work stream leaders, as long as you have a capability of syncing the work in multiple teams, delivering multiple projects under a program. Of course, also for risk management, it's much easier to have a grip on high-risk programs, because if what determines you to run a project or to run a program? Risk. If the risk is high, then you are advised to run a program instead of a project, because now you can have a firmer grip on risk management. Yeah, also here, PGMP holders are among the top 5, what I can say, of PMI certified professionals. It's an advanced kind of credential. Why pursue the PGMP certification? Because you can be recognized globally as a premier credential. It validates ability to lead and manage complex multi-project programs. You can assess yourself. Are you a project manager now? If the answer is yes. Are you managing multiple projects? If the answer is yes, then you need program management credentials. I know if in most organizations, maybe the load for project managers is maybe 3 to 5 projects. If you are running 3 to 5 projects, 3 projects or 4 projects, it means that you must rank those projects by priority, because a day has got only 8 hours. And if you are running 3 projects at the same time, it means you must spend 2.5 hours on one project, 2.5 hours on another project, 2.5 hours. That's what we call utilization. Allocation is how many projects are you running. If you're running multiple projects, then because PMP is good for single projects. You're delivering a project, right? Yes, well done. But sometimes there is what we call allocation. Management will say, no, you have only one small project. Let's allocate you another project. They give you another project. So you get to have 3, 4 projects at the same time, running parallel. Okay? Then at that level, you will need the credential, which we call PGMP. And also, one thing you should understand is that when you are applying for eligibility, PMI is not allowing to count overlapping projects. That's at the PMP level. When I say overlapping projects, I say if you're doing 2 or 3 projects running at the same time, then you count only one project. That's for the PMP eligibility application. Okay. Now, for PGMP, actually, you need this credential will boost your earning potential and marketability. Probably you can run programs under UN, because UN is running a lot of programs. European Union is running a lot of programs. Now, what this means is that the programs, even what they call development goals, Millennium Development Goals, developed by the United Nations, they are calling them programs, not projects. And also, it's very strange to run a project for 10 years. That's too long. It will be better you run it as a program. Then that program is being fed by running individual projects, which are feeding the program. At that level, then you can manage risks adequately, because project risks will be managed at the project level rather than at program level. And then, of course, this one boosts earning potential, marketability, strengthens skills in strategic alignment, governance, and stakeholder engagement, connects you to a global network of elite program managers. And these domains, what we cover in program management, are 5 domains. Strategic program management, how to align the components of the program to speak to the strategic objectives of the organization. Then program, just like a project life cycle, a program has got also a life cycle, which we need to manage. Initiation, we need to manage the delivery of the program. Benefits realization, we need to manage governance of a program to set up structures, governance structures. We need to manage the benefits, which may, in most programs, benefits, they start being realized even before closing a program. And then we must we must develop a program management plan, program realization plan, stakeholder management at that level, at program level, as well as there must be a governance structure. Like we have a steering committee for the projects. Now, if you're a program manager, for your projects, actually, you automatically become a sponsor. If you are operating at program management level, then you become a sponsor for the projects. are taken care of under that program. Okay, that's where it comes from. This is designed for leaders like you because going this route means that you are a senior project manager and program managers, portfolio managers, director of projects, operations, government, corporate leaders managing multiple initiatives, which they can manage in order to derive expected benefits. Now, you can say drive strategic transformation. That is, you have a target state of the organization where you want your organization to go, and you have the current state. Then you need to align the programs with organizational strategy. That's very key. That's very important. And if the strategy of the organization changes, you must change also your program strategy, because it's like you driving a car and you see that there are road constructions ahead. You can take a detour, right? But if a strategy of the organization changes, you must change and continuously align the programs as well. Deliver the business outcomes, not just project outputs. That's a very important statement where we differentiate outputs from outcomes, effectively manage interdependencies and risks. That what is the effect of, for example, stopping one project on what's the impact on other projects. So you have kind of helicopter view of how projects are being delivered. Actually, we call the project component of a program. But you see yourself how people, what word can I use? Misplace interchangeably. They are using the word program, project, without understanding that actually the project is feeding into programs, and programs are very strategical tools we use to deliver strategy at the organizational senior level. Okay, so the objectives of course, it implements the full PMI PGMP talent triangle, program lifecycle, initiation to closure. Just for your knowledge, as we initiate projects, we also initiate programs until we close programs. Stakeholder engagement and governance, benefit realization, and program value delivery. This is very important because it needs to be tracked at senior management level. You need to track the benefits and attribute them to programs and projects. So how is this program management delivered? This is a 5-day intensive instructor-led program with case studies, simulations, and group exercises. And also we use PMI authorized training materials, including the one when we deliver boot camps at PMP level. The material you use, it will be the same material which is being used in China, in Europe, in America, because what PMI has done is to standardize the materials we use for the delivery of the boot camps. So central location, executive comfort, what is this talking about? In Malawi, how we can leverage or benefit from best practice. And normally all this, because of the intensity of the training, normally we do the training offsite so that you don't have distractions from work. You need to refocus. We also provide tutorials, mentorship programs after the training, maybe 2 hours per week. You connect with the instructor. And of course, if it was an in-person training, then it's much easier to continue with online tutorials to prepare you fully for the exam. So yeah, always seek approved trainers, accredited trainers, because one way you would is twofold. The chances are very high of passing when you go through an approved PMI trainer, and also that you get experience like reality in practice, what is happening in practice. Most of these exams are highly practical, and all the questions which come in the exam are from what is happening out there in industry on a daily basis. And these are some of the testimonials which have come through for people who are getting certifications, because these certifications, they will open doors for you for career personal development. They will also benefit your organization because your thinking will be different after attending the course, because it opens up it triggers thought process about how projects are delivered, how programs are delivered, and you will see that you have a career which is already can be advanced using the best practices learned from the bootcamp. So this is normally what you get: 40 hours of expert training, PMI approved course materials, or what we call courseware. At the end of the bootcamp, we give you a certificate which is also recognized by PMI, certificate of completion. Okay, and now you can go for the credential. We're going towards the end. This is a planned. I thought of putting this because in collaboration with NCIC, we want to promote and help a lot of delegates and candidates. I think for the past 5 years, we've trained more than, I would say, 100 professionals in project management best practice. So every year we were having this opportunity. Like you can see, this year it's happening from the 25th to 29th August. Tomorrow is July. We'll be saying next month. Yeah. So this normally is done at Mangoche or Salima. This is going to happen, I think, where is this? Project Management International in Salima, yeah, Livingstone, Salima, which is good because it's offsite and you don't get disruptions from work. If you want further details, you can contact Nima, the Director of Training and Research, who is in the audience today, to book your places, and looking forward to welcoming you in Salima this year. So you need to shape the future with strategic leadership in program management as well as project delivery. This ends this short presentation, and I would like to invite some questions from the audience. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Doc. Yeah, so by a show of a hand, we can get your questions, your need for clarification. Thank you. The floor is open. Do you have a question, Dalitso?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. My question is to you, NCIC, the facilitators. If you haven't paid yet, is there still room to pay, or that means you have missed out this year's bootcamp? Thank you.
Thank you so much. No, the door is still open. And if you pay now, we'll provide materials for you to start studying. Like we can provide the PM book, Project Management Book of Knowledge, that will help you to pre-study before attending the bootcamp. So the door is still open for payment of the fees. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Do we have any more questions? Any more questions or need for clarification? Maybe as we're thinking of the questions or any comments, just to testify that I'm one of the people who qualified as PMP, got the credentials in 2023. And really, it's a game changer. It changes how you think about projects and pretty much about so many things in terms of management, because it's a good standard. It's really a golden standard. And when you reach there, you become a PMP. You really feel it that I'm a PMP, and you feel the change that happens in terms of how you handle the projects, how you handle the communication in the project, procurement within the project, and the other facets within the project. So it's really a good certification, and it fits for all types of projects that we manage within our organizations. So it's a good certification that we recommend for all those that manage projects. The floor is still open for questions. We have opened up a WhatsApp group. If you would want to join us this year, you can also join the WhatsApp group that we have opened for PMP 2025. I'll still open for the questions and comments, maybe for next 3 minutes. Then maybe if there are no more questions, we can close the webinar. And maybe in addition to what Doc presented on the exams, in the past, we past 3 years, 4 years, we haven't had an exam center, but at the meantime, we have an exam center for PMP. You can write in person at Sparks Complex. So in the past, we just used to do it online, but now we are lucky that we have an on-site center for the exam. So after you prepare, you get the eligibility, you can sit for the exam in person at Sparks Complex. Yes, Stephen, do you have a question?
No, mine is just a comment. Thank you so much for organizing such an insightful event. I really have appreciated. I think you have gone through a lot of what you have shared. I'm yet to make a decision to go on the steps forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the comment. All right. Dr. Mansa, it seems we don't have any more questions or comments. Maybe we can close the webinar. You have closing remarks?
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity today to share my thoughts on the credentialing. In fact, if you look at the credentials, the PMI credentials, the PMI standards, you should treat them as an investment into yourself as resourceful persons, because the world is now we are now in the VUCA world, kind of volatility, very fast-paced. The complexity as well as ambiguity is all over, and you always need to be one step ahead and embrace new lessons, new technologies, and also we have AI in project management. Now AI is able to write meeting minutes and also disseminate the minutes to the stakeholders. So this AI can now give the project manager something like alleviate 30% effort, which a project manager gives to project manage work. The coming of AI, the coming of certifications, and also we are waiting for the 8th edition of the PMBOK. The current edition is 7th, though in the exam we're still using the 6th edition for reference purposes, as the PMBOK is a guide, not a textbook. So PMI is giving us materials as trainers, materials which we can use for our candidates. And the good thing now is all over the world, it's the same syllabus and the same materials. The pass mark is not published. I think if you ask me, if you start getting 65, 70, 75 in our mock exams, then I'll tell you that you go for the exam. We suspect the pass mark is 70%. I think 75 is very high, the pass mark. But if you are well prepared, well drilled, you will enjoy the exam. Believe me. And it's a very rewarding experience when you see you end the exam, then you see congratulations. You are now a PMP. And that's what we should strive to have this year, a personal investment. Not really personal. Yeah, it's personal, but the benefits will trickle to the organization you work for. People will see a changed person in terms of the way you deliver your projects and the way you look at things in terms of projectization. So these are my final remarks, and I can't wait to meet in person. Welcome, and also the fact that you are a member of a PMI Malawi chapter, you grow your network in the profession, and also make connections on discussion of best practice vis-a-vis project management and program management. So these are my closing remarks. I thank you very much for your time and hope to see you next time in Salima.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mansa, and thank you all of you who managed to attend this webinar. We don't take it for granted that you attended this webinar, and really we're looking forward to meeting you in Salima at the bootcamp. And as a country, we're looking forward to a group of professional project managers who will lead projects successfully for our country, and also project managers who will lead successfully the projects within the organization. Thank you so much. We're wishing you a lovely good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you.